disease, in short form, it's called PUD.
Yes.
It is either acute or chronic in the linings of the stomach. And in medical terms, we say the linings of the gastric mucosa. So it is an ulceration that happens when there are effects occur on that lining that we are going to look into in a few minutes. Therefore, when the gastric mucosa, initially the lining of the stomach or the gastric, it has layers of tissues. And therefore, those layers, they perform the protective mechanism of the stomach. They are very thick and they are full of mucus and such like of secretions. And therefore, if that mucosa is interfered with, or if the lining of the stomach is becomes thin because of one reason or the other, there are these stomach juices, there are these stomach acid that come and corrode and therefore damage those tissues. Therefore, it is through that damaging of the tissue that now one gets that wound that we call ulcer. So it is a process that happens not as immediate, but it is a process. That is why I'm saying it can either be an acute or a chronic. So there are those ulcerations in the gastric mucosa that now becomes unbearable because of the symptoms they are causing. Yes.
Okay, you know when, like I've said, there's someone who hears that, oh, they're discussing ulcers, and you're like, ulcers is a thing of every other person. Like everybody has ulcers, so it's not something serious. Maybe it's just like a normal flu. There's another person who has been maybe close to a person who has been so affected by these ulcers, for themselves they are affected, until when they hear ulcers, that's a very, very serious disease.
Sure.
And especially back in high school, almost everybody had ulcers. Like everybody was taking special diet because they have ulcers. So if I'm coming from that point, to me ulcers is just, it's just ulcers. It's just a matter of not taking giberi, because that's what I think so many people are running away from. So someone like that will feel like, ulcers. So it's just we are living normal lives. So how serious is ulcers? Even before we talk of whether it's acute or it's chronic.
Okay. So now ulcer is that wound. As I've said, it's that wound that now is found on the linings of the stomach, especially because due to corrosion of the stomach acid or the gastric juices that are produced during digestion. And therefore, those ulcers or those wounds, they are as alarming, like the PUD. PUD, we can say it is a chronic. It is a chronic stage of ulcers. Yes, because for it to be managed, there has to be combination of various, various issues and things, not only medicines but even nutrition, lifestyle, and everything. And therefore, ulcer is just as acute. It is a wound. Such a wound, for example, if you're burned with something like an acid, there is that wound that is found. So it is that acute wound, but when now it becomes complicated, it becomes a PUD. Yes. So there are people who live with ulcers. There are those who, it can be lifetime, it can be for a season or for a period, but it all depends with the lifestyle they are living. It depends with, how they are carrying themselves and the environment, the surrounding. So it is not all about the food they eat, but it is also about the surrounding, because even physiological disturbances can also lead to such issues. Yes. So it's an acute thing, but now we are going to look at it in the chronic way.
Because the acute one leads to the chronic one.
Yeah, sure.
So that's how serious ulcers are. that when I don't take care, then it means that it will grow, it will get worse. And now it's when it gets to PUD, maybe a person outside there who was seeing ulcers is just it's just like a flu. So everybody in our high school had ulcers, and they were given special diet, and they were never sick. There's nothing there's nothing like you say as in to relate with the illness that you can say. So that way we have taken ulcers as just ulcers.
If we can relate to the high school sagas and everything, those people were not suffering from ulcers. They were suffering from acidity.
Oh.
Yes. So it is the acidity more so due to consumption of certain foods. For example, you know, there are certain foods like beans. There are certain foods like greens, such as sukumas. They have an element of acidity in them. And therefore, the moment you ingest that food, there is an effect in the stomach lining. So it is a reaction that happens. Therefore, you have pain, but it is not the ulcer. Yes. So it is just a corrosion or an irritation of the stomach lining. So that is acidity. But now when it comes to ulcers, it is a wound that is already developing. So these people are reacting to acidity in the name of ulcers. So that they get the special diet.
Oh, now you know. So even for the acidity, continue giving them. So that acidity can lead to ulcers.
It can if it is
somebody is
persistent. It can.
Okay. Oh, now we understand better. You have heard the difference maybe between the acidity and the acute ulcers, and then there is the chronic ulcers. So if you don't take care of the acidity, it will grow to ulcers, and that is, yes, it may be acute in the first stage, and then from there, if you don't again take care, it will get to chronic. And when it is chronic, it is not easy to treat, as the doctor is telling us. And of course, none of us want to be ill, not even with that acidity. All of us want to be healthy, and that's why we are here. That's why we have this show, so that every one of us, we can live a healthy life. We don't have that acidity, we don't have the acute ulcers, we don't have the chronic ulcers. And today, that's why we have taken peptic ulcer disease to discuss and to enlighten you. And I want to believe that at the end of the show, you'll be helped, and you'll be able to help another person, your family member, your friend, your relative, your colleague, so that we can take care of our bodies, and we can be careful even as we continue. And now, daktari, I would want, you have told us that it is that is the wound. The stomach has those linings. So the peptic ulcer disease is that now this what is like corroding that lining. That now having the wounds on the lining of the stomach.
Yes, it is the corrosion of the lining that now when the lining is corroded or is damaged, it leaves those wounds. So it is those wounds that we call ulcers.
Okay.
Yes.
So now you understand it better. The wounds are there. Ulcers now is a peptic ulcer disease. Is this just the same way as saying stomach ulcers?
Now, it is, but I'll give it in two ways. Peptic ulcer disease, it is classified into two. There is the stomach ulcers or the gastric ulcers, and then there is the duodenal ulcers. The duodenum is the immediate upper part of the small intestines that is connected to the stomach. So if you follow the anatomy of the GIT or the intestinal tract, you will find there is the esophagus, there is the stomach, and there is the small intestines. Therefore, ulcers mostly comes in the stomach and in the immediate part of the small intestine, and that is what is called duodenum. So those are the two major sites of ulcers: the stomach ulcer or gastric ulcer and duodenal ulcer. So we cannot just say PUD is stomach ulcer only, because it can also present as. Yes. So they are two in one.
So stomach ulcers is peptic ulcer disease, is a peptic ulcer disease.
Yeah, it
But
is.
still, it doesn't like encompass the whole disease. So the disease can extend.
Yeah, sure.
It can extend to duodenum. We are learning. So that is to say that gastric ulcer is the same as stomach ulcers. No, that is the same. That's what you said.
Gastric ulcer and stomach ulcer are the same.
It's the same thing. Okay, now you have given us what is the difference exactly?
Okay.
Is it the way it will affect a person now for the duodenum and now from the stomach ulcers?
The major difference between duodenal ulcer and gastric or stomach cancer ulcer is the position or where it is presenting. So those ulcers, if it is those wounds, they are in the stomach lining. If it is duodenal ulcers, those wounds are in the duodenum. But at the same time, there are also other differences when it comes to signs and symptoms. And I know we are going to look at, but let me just say it because that is what will give us the difference. So in gastric ulcer or the stomach ulcer that most of us say it's the peptic ulcer disease, the major symptom that differentiates it from the duodenal ulcer is because gastric ulcer comes with or it is worsened by eating food. You know, people say that the ulcer is as a result of an empty stomach. But in stomach ulcer or gastric ulcer, it is as a result of food. Because the moment you ingest food, through the process of digestion, the digestive juices, they are released into the stomach lining. And therefore, if the lining was already irritated before, and now there is this frequent, persistent interaction between the stomach lining and the acid that is released during digestion, the lining will continue to be irritated and to corrode, and therefore it will damage. It can only happen when you eat food, because it is only through eating food then those acids are released to digest that food. So stomach ulcers, they present at least those symptoms, they present 15 to 30 minutes after eating, because that is when now the stomach acid will be released. So when it is released, it corrodes the lining. But in the duodenal ulcers, it comes when you're feeling hungry or when the stomach is empty. So there is a difference. Okay. Yes, the duodenal ulcer, the stomach, when you're hungry, when you've not eaten, maybe 1 to 3 hours after eating. That is when the food content has already been done within the stomach. That is when you will have the symptoms of duodenal ulcers. But in the gastric, immediately after you've eaten food, that is when the symptoms now appear.
So what is now irritating? Because, okay, the stomach is empty. So what is now irritating the duodenum?
Okay, the reason here is, you know, when the food is being digested in the stomach, we've said there are those digestive juices, and there are the stomach acid that has already been released. If there was no issue with the stomach lining, but there is an issue in the duodenum, you know, through the transfer of the food content in the stomach through the small intestine, that is the duodenum, those content will now they will irritate now the lining of the duodenum, not the stomach. And therefore, that is why the effect is not in the stomach, it is in the duodenum.
Okay, and that one can only come now at that stage at which the food is. That's why it's coming hours later.
Yeah, hours
when
later.
Someone feels hungry. When
Yeah,
someone
sure.
is hungry. Oh, that's why some people suffering from ulcers will be like, I need to eat something. I need to eat something. Okay, so that one means that the ulcers is not in the stomach.
So if you find someone who is saying, I need to eat something because they have ulcers, it is the duodenal ulcers.
Okay.
It is not the stomach ulcers.
Okay, we are learning. So what causes this peptic ulcer disease?
Whatever causes peptic ulcer disease, there are two major causes. And one is this bacteria called H. pylori bacteria. And the second one is the frequent use of NSAIDs. NSAIDs, they are non-steroid anti-inflammatory drugs. They are painkillers. For example, ibuprofen or brufen, as it's known. So, and other drugs like aspirin. You know, they have those. If you use them frequently, there is an effect in the stomach lining. They make the stomach lining thinner than it is a thick mucoid lining. But the frequent use of those medications, it makes the lining to become thin. And therefore, it is through the thinning of that lining, stomach acid and those juices find access into it. And therefore, it corrodes the lining. So it is not an immediate, it is frequent use of those drugs. H. pylori, H. pylori is a bacteria, and it is a major cause of ulcers. In the duodenal ulcers, it causes 90% of the cases. In the stomach ulcers, it causes 70% of the cases. So it is the major part of the ulcers itself. Other causes will be, I said, physiological causes like stress-induced. So stress-induced, it is not as per se a cause, but it is a risk factor. People who have issues with chronic diseases like lung, kidney, and liver diseases, they also at the risk of PUD. People who have a tendency of alcohol consumption and tobacco smoking, they are also at the risk of PUD. Yes, and the ulcer, the tobacco, it can even lead to now the stomach cancer, because the moment those linings they are corroded every now and then, they tend now to mutate, so that they can let me say adapt. So it is through the mutation. You know, when you hear the word mutation, it means the initial lining of the stomach is changing, and therefore whatever is changing in the body is not of its own. It becomes an issue. So when these people are taking or consuming those things, it becomes an issue in the near future. So those are the major causes of PUD: H. pylori, those drug NSAIDs, and then the risk factors that we've talked about.
Now I know somebody who was thinking that something serious. Now you understand better, and you know that it's quite serious. You see, it can even lead to stomach cancer. And if there's something that I know all of us just don't want to hear close to our ears, it's cancer. It's cancer. So we have a lot of taking care to do just to ensure that we stay healthy, because now we understand. So this H. pylori, we can't, cause there's a way you will eat the same foods with someone. Let's say for those painkillers. Does it mean that some linings will be more prone to getting corroded, or because in cases of the bacteria just develops from some, I don't know, what makes this not, you know, for alcohol, you can say that alcohol and tobacco and smoking, those kind of things, they say we look at them like, oh, these are damaging products. But then like we said, like beans have acidity, high acidity. There's someone who is not affected, but so another person, even children, this child is affected so much with these acidic foods, but this other one, they just normal. As in, it's just the way our bodies are built.
It is how our body respond.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it is how our systems respond. You know, systems respond differently. So the body response is now what determines whatever those bacteria or those drugs or those risk factors will affect our body. So it is not entirely on every other person. There are people who have been smoking for the past 20 years. They are as healthy as they were. And there is a person who just takes it for 6 months, and they're already down. It depends with the systemic response of the body. Yes.
Oh, I understand. So don't be ignorant. Don't be like, that person has been smoking for 20 years and it has done nothing to them. So we are different and you're different from that person. So please don't be ignorant and don't look at your body as in comparison to another person's body. Yes, we have heard of the causes that are such, you know, there are people who are very, as in, I wouldn't say that they like, but anything small, there's that painkiller they run to. You just go and buy Brufen because you have a headache. Tomorrow you have a toothache, the same Brufen. As in, there's a person who, this is my medicine. This is my medicine. So be very careful. It's good also to know whether your body agrees with the kind of painkiller that you're taking both now and then. So how will someone know that they have this PUD?
Okay. Now, for someone to present with signs and symptoms of PUD, most gastric ulcer or stomach ulcers, mostly they are asymptomatic. Asymptomatic means they will not show the real symptoms of ulcers. And therefore, the only symptom that you might lead to you coming to seek help, it's when you take food and then 15 minutes or 30 minutes after eating food, you're having that abdominal pain or the epigastric. So also we say it is an epigastric pain. The upper part of the abdomen or the stomach is paining. So that is the immediate sign and symptom of PUD. Upper abdominal pain, but it is localized at the center. So that pain is called epigastric pain. And then there is a person who will have bloating, or they feel like their stomach is full. You know, bloating or their stomach is full, but they've taken nothing. There is this person who will have, it's called early satiety. You know, early satiety means just after consuming a little amount of food, they feel full. It's like, you know, they were hungry, but on consumption of just little food, they feel they are satisfied. There is this person who will have nausea and vomiting. Nausea is that feeling of wanting to vomit, and vomiting is now the real act. There is this person who will come with with something we call anorexia. Anorexia is loss of appetite. Because, for example, for someone who has gastric ulcers, the moment they eat food, that is when symptoms occur. And therefore, they will have less appetite for food. It's also a sign. There is this person who will come with other constitutional signs like anemia. And then now when you see a person come with an anemia, anemia means that the blood content in the body is minimum. So when you see someone with anemia, it is a sign that there is blood loss somewhere in the body. And therefore, if they have had PUD or ulcers for some time, then there is a worry that one, there might be something we call hemorrhage. Hemorrhage is internal bleeding, or there is something that is called perforation. Perforation is, for example, breaking. You know, the stomach has, you know, there is a breaking of the lining, and it's in communication with another part of the body. So such kind of people with anemia, they also present with hard stool. Hard stool. Dark stool meaning that the stool it has a content of the blood. So it is because the reason the stool is dark, it's because if the blood is coming from the stomach lining or the duodenal lining, before it goes through the entire GIT system to be excreted or to be to get out of the body, it means that the blood will already have come into contact and dried in the stool. That is why they have dark stool. It's called melena stool. So those are the major signs and symptoms of PUD. But mostly it is the epigastric pain. The epigastric pain. That is what many of them come with, and that it is from there now we decide on the investigations that we take afterwards. Yes.
So if you're suffering, you have experienced one of those symptoms that the doctor has mentioned, seek medical help before it's too late, because in most cases people will guess that it's ulcers when they have now the epigastric pain and the irritation, but for the others we have not maybe thought they are part, and maybe you have not seen them as serious. And today we are asking you to take your health very seriously, that even if it's one symptom, just go and be checked. It won't harm. And if you don't have ulcers, you go to go. If you have them, you go to go, because you will be treated and you'll not get to deteriorate the situation. And now, how do people diagnose this PUD?
The ideal diagnosis of peptic ulcer disease, it's through history taking, because we cannot make a decision of a person has ulcers if we have not got to know the history of that person. So the best, even in other medical conditions, the best way to diagnose any condition or any medical condition, it's through perfect history taking. Our consultants have been telling us all through that it is through history taking that you can make 99% of diagnosis, even before doing investigations and imaging. Yes, no, in major, almost all diseases.
Okay.
You should make a diagnosis through history taking and examination, and only confirm through investigations such as imaging, blood tests, and such kind of things. Because you cannot set for an imaging if you don't know what you're looking for. Yeah, so history taking is very important. So whatever they come and they tell you, that is what now will lead you to make a decision of investigating. So the investigations you do after you've taken one, it's endoscopy. Endoscopy, it is a procedure where a camera is inserted through the throat to your stomach to have a view of the lining of the stomach. And therefore, it is through the viewing of the lining of the stomach we'll be able to point out those wounds, those ulcerated areas in the stomach or in the lining of the stomach. And if you look at history and the history was pointing to duodenal ulcers, as I was telling you, there is this procedure that is called esophagogastroduodenoscopy. It is a procedure that now goes beyond the stomach to the small intestines. So that tube with the camera goes through the stomach to the small intestines. So it is able to point out those wounds. Then another test we do H. pylori test, which is very common. We do H. pylori test. We said for a stool. We said for a stool sample for that specific test. There are other, the most immediate one, it's called a breath test. And there is another test we can do. For example, I told you some people come with signs of anemia. So we can set for blood test. So that we know the level of the blood, in his or her body. And if they come with symptoms or signs of dark stool, we can also set for a test that is called stool for occult blood. So we want to see those microscopic elements of blood in the stool, which cannot be seen with the Therefore, those are the major tests or investigations that we do. At the same time, we can, if it was progressive or chronic, we can do imaging. So, for example, ultrasound and the like. So, apart from the endoscopy, the camera you put in through the GI or the throats to the stomach, if it's chronic or it has been there for some time, you can do imaging at the same time.
I am just imagining of that now with the endoscopy, the camera. It feels like, it sounds so irritating.
It
Has
is.
that been going all the way?
It is, but we sedate them.
Oh.
Sedation, there is a drug they are given, and therefore they are not aware of whatever is happening. They only find the result.
Encouraging. But anyway, we don't want to get there. And to just stay healthy. But again, like I've told you, my viewer, is that you will need to, look out for those symptoms. In case you have one, just get to a facility, health facility, and be checked. So keep it, Nisi Television. Here it's the doctor's desk, and we are live on Facebook, we are live on YouTube. Send us your questions. The doctor will be able to answer them. In case there's something that you feel, any other symptom that you can relate to that, in case there's a place where you feel you would need him to help you, of course, he is ready to do that. And that's why we are here at Nisi Television, to transform your life, to transform your health. And we'll take a short break, and then we'll be back with more.
Join us and our dear friends. We are committed to building strong, prosperous families and blessed through our food programs, housing initiative, and a community visit. We believe that everyone deserves access to healthy meals and a safe place to call home. With the support, we can continue to provide hope and support for those who need it most. Together, we can create a brighter future for them. Join us and be part of something truly meaningful. Discover the key to your child's future success with Shamareo School, a leading academic institution offering comprehensive education in a supportive and nurturing environment. Shamareo School is a day and boarding primary school with highly qualified teachers and a cutting-edge curriculum. Our school prepares students for a bright future and equips them with the skills necessary to succeed in the 21st century. Our innovative approach to education fosters creativity, critical thinking, and a lifelong learning. From our state-of-the-art facilities to our diverse extracurricular activities like swimming, football, music, taekwondo, art and craft, our school provides a well-rounded education that goes beyond classroom. Join us for a scheduled tour to see what sets us apart. Invest in your child's future with Shamareo School. Our school is located at Syokimau Katani Market. Email us at info@shamareoschool.com or call us at 0741 248012. For more information, visit our website at shamareoschool.com. Shamareo School, a place to excel.
The Oikos Initiative. This is a noble initiative of Every Home for Christ. Every Home for Christ is a non-profitable organization that operates in various counties in Kenya, including Mombasa, Kisumu, Nairobi, and is dedicated to sharing the truth and love of Jesus with everyone, everywhere. EHC mission is to serve the church by equipping and mobilizing believers to participate in sharing the truth and the love of Jesus with every person and home on earth. We have ongoing training, prayer mobilization, and outreaches in Kajiado, Machakos, Makueni, Kitui, Kilifi, Watamu, Marsabit, Isiolo, Kisumu, Eldoret, and Western region. The EHC vision that every person on earth would have a genuine opportunity to respond to the truth and the love of Jesus. Theme of the year 2023 is togetherness, which is rooted from the book of Romans 15, verse 6. The three unalterable convictions, the Great Commission, the unity in Christ's body, and the power of prayer. This is Oiko's initiative, Every Home for Christ. You can find us on 074 65 5608. You can also visit our website at www.everyhomeforchristke.org. The Oikos initiative, Every Home for Christ.
Hello and welcome to the Culture Press, the only place where you can get fun and informative information about African culture with me, your host, Kamova Rehab. Join me every Sunday at 2 p.m. only at Nisi TV to get all the tea about our culture, our history, our languages, our food, and so much more. I cannot wait.
For keeping it Nisi Television. We are continuing with our discussion. Today we are discussing peptic ulcer disease, and we have seen the causes, we have seen the symptoms, we have seen how it's diagnosed, we have seen how you can take care of yourself, and we are continuing with the same discussion. But daktari, before we go on, there's a question here. Someone called Emmanuel is asking, many thanks for this conversation. My brother, whom we live parallel live with, experienced ulcers and was diagnosed with H. pylori at the age of 30. Is it likely to affect me too? Do we have a lot in common, as it looks like fate? Like whatever he passed through, zinampata pia. Now you have said about the history. And now he's asking, now that his brother has suffered these ulcers, and it seems like whatever the brother has suffered, he also comes to suffer. Is it likely for him to be affected by the ulcers?
I wouldn't say it's likely, because as much as they might be living in the same lifestyle, one, we said that the body response is what matters most. For example, I was living with my mother, and she has been taking H. pylori medications for quite some time now, but I don't have we are living the same lifestyle, we're eating the same food in the same environment and atmosphere, but she has this issue, but I don't have. And therefore, as much as they're in the same background and living almost similar ways, it's not likely that he will have the issue. So there is no high probability for that.
Okay, so in simple terms, it's not genetic?
No, there is family history. If people have been having the ulcers, there is that lineage of ulcers. If there have been a family history, it's likely. But because I don't think this person is his brother, they are saying they've been living parallel. Maybe they are living together, or maybe he's a co-worker or someone who has reached to a point now he can turn to him as a brother. If there is no history of, if there is no family history of ulcers, it is very unlikely.
Okay, so with family history, it means that there's likelihood of your body systems reacting same way to different aspects of life.
Yes, there is a proof of family history of ulcers.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, there's another question from Gracie. She's asking, every month I always take maramoja for the cramps to be able to go to work. Is that dangerous too? Being used to the same drug every other month.
Okay, so at the same time, she might be using it every other month. But if the body response does not see it as a threat, she won't become a victim of the same. But it's good that she understands that maramoja has 3 components of drugs in it. There is paracetamol, that is the normal Panadol. There is aspirin, and aspirin is an NSAID. You remember we said it is an NSAID? And then there is caffeine. So those 3 components of drugs, they make maramoja. She might not be at the risk, but she can, if it is something that has been consistent, due to the aspirin aspect of it, yeah, she needs at least to manage it and to take care of it. Yeah, because aspirin, we said it is an NSAID, and NSAID, they are very, very good causes of PUD.
Okay, I want to believe, Gracie, you have heard that, and it's helpful to you that the consistency, maybe your body, your system doesn't see it as harmful, and again, the consistency, it also matters. So maybe just be careful so that the aspirin in the maramoja doesn't cause ulcers. She said, thank you, Doc, it's answered. Yeah, thank you so much for your questions. Keep them coming. And thank you much for tuning in. VDJTL is in. There's Mary Size is Anasema Niko ndani. There is, this is Grace Mohes. She's in, following, and already learning something. And yes, continue sending us your comments, send us your questions, and let us know where you're watching us from. So now we have seen how the symptoms. We also have seen how the doctors will be able to diagnose the ulcers. So what will happen? How do you manage it? How is it treated?
Okay. Now, because it is PUD that we are talking about here, and it is not acidity, PUD, there has to be a combination of factors. One, pharmacological factors. We have to bring on board drugs. Then there is the supportive care. And it is in the supportive care that nutrition also comes. But the most effective way of managing PUD, it's through medication. And PUD is not, it is not a condition that is only managed by one course of a drug. It is a condition that is managed by combination of some drugs to make, to make sure that the effectiveness of these drugs is at par with the condition. Therefore, for those who've been taking PUD medication, they will be witnesses that there is a kit. There is H. pylori kit that encompasses of 3 drugs, and that is what is mostly used. There is this kit that comes with PPI. A PPI is a proton pump inhibitor. Most of those are the ones that are used for acidity. For example, omeprazole, esomeprazole. So that PPI or proton pump inhibitor is one component of the combination. Then we bring on board 2 antibiotics. There is clarithromycin and there is amoxicillin. and you can alternate amoxicillin with something like metronidazole. Metronidazole is fragile, so it depends with the company or the brand that is formulating these kits. So they formulate it in different formulations. Therefore, every kit that comes with a combination of 3 drugs, and they are very effective. They are taken for 2 weeks, and then after those 2 weeks, we always encourage patients with PUD to take another course of 2 weeks or 4 weeks of these PPIs, either omeprazole. No. Now a single drug, omeprazole or esomeprazole, just to make sure that we've taken care of everything. So the kit goes for 2 weeks, and then there is an escort of either esomeprazole or omeprazole for another 2 or 4 weeks. And by the end of that course of the entire medication, they should come for a review so that we see whether the drugs were effective, or whether we should continue with the drugs, or whether we should taper down the drugs. You know, we reduce the doses so that we, at the end of it all, should not be using them at any time.
So somebody should not just take it and stay at home and they're like, I'm done with the dose.
Now, that is why you find that there are people coming to our facilities every now and then, because they took drugs, and because they completed the dose, now they think they have eliminated the H. pylori. But the best thing is, you know, you might have taken care of the symptoms, and you do know the moment symptoms are relieved, every other person says they are well.
Because you don't feel now that
you're not at discomfort, you're not feeling the pain, you think you're doing well, but you know, taking care of symptoms that does not mean you've eliminated the causing factor. So there has to be a follow-up so that we can be sure that this is something that, you know, it won't recur, because the occurrence of the same is a factor of some complications that we will see. So the empirical management of PUD is that H. pylori kit that comes with those 3 combinations. But you'll find that this person has taken that kit, and they have taken the 2 weeks course of the omeprazole as esomeprazole, but still there is no improvement. So if there is no improvement, introduction of another combination of 4 drugs.
Okay.
Yes, it is a H. pylori kit, but now it has 4 drugs. It has esomeprazole, it has tetracycline, it has this drug called bismuth, and it has metronidazole or fragile. Therefore, that is a second line treatment if the first line was not effective. But many of them they do it with the first line management.
Okay.
Yes.
So that is how it's managed. That's how it's treated. And you have talked of stress being another cause. So now for the stress, now that I don't think for the stress somebody will be given the same medicine.
Not really. So if it is stress, now that is lifestyle. So that is why we were saying that supportive comes in, because these people they have to do lifestyle modification. If the causative issues or if the risk factors were smoking, then they have to cease smoking. If the risk factor was alcohol consumption, they have to cease taking alcohol. But it does not just happen once. You know, if they are an addict, at the moment there are people who will just tell you you have to stop taking this alcohol, you have to stop smoking. You know, it does not just happen naturally. So we have to take them through the course and make sure. Sometimes we even give them supplements. For example, if they have been too addicted with smoking, we give them a supplement that looks like tobacco or nicotine, so that through the course of taking that supplement, now start getting out of, we'll start responding slowly. Because the moment we tell them to stop and then we never give them the real advice, the moment they stop once, there is something that is called withdrawal symptoms. So now you'll be managing one condition and then you're managing another condition. Yeah. So as much as we are telling them to stop these risk factors, we have to explain to them how it is done. So if the issue is these people, they are coming with, they have issues with acidity, and there are certain foods that they eat and it becomes a reason for their signs and symptoms, then we advise them not to take such foods. For example, now they take the special diet and such like. And therefore, holistically, this person cannot only be managed by drugs alone. There has to be nutritional aspect, to be lifestyle modification at the same time. Yes. So we were talking about the issue of tobacco. We were talking about the issue of stress. So if it's a matter of stress is physiologic. It's something that one can be taken through as a process, and then they are relieved of the stress. Unless they have anxiety, unless they have it has complicated to become depression, that is only when they can be treated with those specific drugs of anxiety, of depression, and such kind. But if it is just a stress that is induced and can be managed, then it is managed without drugs. Yes.
We get to understand it better that way. That there's so many times that you go to the hospital and you're given some medicines and you're like, you are told that once you're done with this medicine, you go and you disappear and you're like, I'm feeling better, I'm feeling good. Then that's just okay. So I would want to encourage you, or this is what we would want to advise you, that even when you are taking medicines, please just once you're done with it, just go and be checked whether the problem, or rather whatever the illness it was, that it's dealt with completely, so that you don't get those recurrent symptoms. Because when we manage symptoms, it means that we are just continue that, but after some very short time, it will come back again. Now, I would want to ask, as we continue and as we near the end of our show, what are some of the complications of POD?
The immediate complications of POD, I remember I told you, there are people who come with anemia. The ulcers were bleeding. So one of the complications of POD is hemorrhage, bleeding. And another one, I remember I told you, perforation. So if these ulcers, they've been corroded, the moment the tissues of the stomach are being eaten up, it means it's like they are creating a hole. And the moment it continues, then there is a communication of the stomach lining to the other organs. It becomes a perforation. And that perforation is an emergent issue. And by emergent issue, I mean you have to take care of it surgically. There has to be an operation that is done, because communication of one organ to another, it is something that is emergent, it is lethal. So there is perforation, there is hemorrhage, there is a relationship with cancer, because we say that if it is something that is chronic, happening every now and then, there is a relation. There is this condition called it's called gastrinoma. It is cancer. It is cancer-like in the lining of the stomach. So those are the immediate major complications of PUD. Perforation, hemorrhage, and gastrinoma. At the same time, you'll find some people having this condition called GOO, or gastric outlet obstruction. You find that, and that the head of the stomach that connects it to the stomach intestines, it has been obstructed. Because if there is a growth that is happening there because of the ulcers and the corroding of the lining, obstruction. And the immediate symptom of GOO, or gastric outlet obstruction, is they'll be having recurrent and exaggerated vomiting every time they eat, because they are eating but the food is going nowhere. So the result is it's a relapse, a reflux. They vomit. So if you see such exaggerated and persistent vomiting, worry for GOO, or gastric outlet obstruction. So yes, those are the major complications.
Hey, that is serious. So you see, if you are not taking ulcers as serious as we have been advised, please, even if it's acidity and you're told not to eat this and that, it's good to adhere so that it doesn't get there. You have heard that there are some points that you can even, you would even need to be, as in a surgery will need to be done. And you can imagine, I don't think it's a good thing. It's something you want for yourself or for your friend. So if you have had this, please be our ambassador to just advise your friend, and let us all take care of our health, so that at the end of the day, the bodies that God has blessed us with, we can also enjoy living in them and eating and moving around. If you're taking alcohol and the doctor has told you that you need to stop, again, you need to, and just for your own benefit. So now, our last question, supportive care.
Okay.
What does this person need?
I think during management we talked about supportive care, and we talked about the issue of nutrition. We talked about the issue of managing stress. We talked about the issue of ceasing or doing away with alcohol. And yes, it is a progress. It is not something that can happen once. And smoking. So those are what we call supportive management. And also diet comes in. Remember, we said there are foods that are very high in acid, and therefore the acidity factor of those foods might cause corrosion of the stomach lining. And therefore, if you know you have an issue with acidity, then do not take those foods that are full of acid, more so proteins. Therefore, those are the major signs, major supportive care that can be done to those people. There is a person who is asking, how effective is activated charcoal? Activated charcoal in ulcer management or in PUD. Activated charcoal is one of the effective and immediate management of something we call poisoning. It can be food poisoning, it can be organophosphate poisoning. Maybe they took drugs in excess, maybe they wanted to commit suicide, or they took it without their own, or they did it unconsciously. And therefore, when such patients come to our facility, if activated charcoal is within reach, it is a very effective way of making sure that you manage the poisoning. But now, when to H. pylori, or when it comes to PUD, activated charcoal, it has also an effect. The people who take it is a management for ulcers. Whatever it does, activated charcoal, it comes in tablet formulation. There are those companies that have created it as a tablet. It absorbs toxins in the stomach, and at the same time it absorbs the acidic factor in the stomach lining. So it does not treat ulcers or PUD. It only takes care of the symptoms, because the moment it absorbs those toxins and the moment it absorbs those acids, it has only alleviated you from the effect of the acid.
So you feel relieved?
Yes.
But not healed?
So it gives relief. So whoever was asking that question, it is a very effective way of relieving ulcer symptoms, but I won't say it is the ideal management for PUD. Yes.
Okay, so we have come to the end of our show. The management of PUD, having learned the causes, having learned the symptoms, having learned how you can manage, how you can take care of yourself so that you don't even get to have it. And thank you so much, Daktari, for availing yourself again and for your continued enlightening of us and our viewers. And I want to believe that Kenya is getting better through the doctor's desk, because people's health are being transformed. And that's what we do here at Nisi Television, transforming lives through media, your life spiritually, your life physical. We just want you to be healthy, even as we keep serving God. And so with no much ado, I want you to just keep it at Nisi Television. We have other upcoming shows that are great and that will impact your lives in various ways. And until we meet here next, keep it Nisi Television, live on YouTube and Facebook, and again we are live on Signet, our TV channel. So Dr. Rezolu will lead us in the final prayer.
Okay.
Yes.
Before that, let me say hi to some people.
Yeah.
There are friends who have they've been reminding me to say hi to them. Let me first greet my mom. She's a very, very special woman in my life. That is why I'm called Derrick Wanjiru. Therefore, I salute you, Mom, and I love you so much. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the love that you have given me so far. And I pray that God is going to give you health and to give you energy and strength and bless the work of your hands. Let me also salute my friends. They are friends from Nairobi Diocese, where I minister. You remember I'm also a minister.
Oh, yeah,
yes, and tomorrow I'll be releasing my song.
Oh.
The second, it's called Nyumbani Mwako.
Let me remind us YouTube channel.
Yes, in my YouTube channel, Minister Derrick Wanjiru.
Okay.
Let me also salute friends from Vika Diocese, where I currently am, ACK. My colleagues at Vika Level 5, the interns, our seniors, my in charge, and let me salute all my friends, those who are following, those who are supporting this program and the ministry as well. I salute you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we will see you next week, Wednesday, from 7:30 to 9 a.m. at Doctor's Desk, where your happiness starts with your health. Thank you so much for tuning in. We love you, and may God bless you. Let us pray. Our dear and everlasting Father, in the name of Jesus Christ, we are so grateful this morning. Once again, thank you for your faithfulness in our lives. Thank you because this is a day that you've made, that we should rejoice and be glad in it. We don't take it for granted because we know it is for a reason and for a purpose that we are set to be here. Thank you for this program that is transforming lives. And thank you so much for this, for television, Nisi Television, and for the hosts of this television. Thank you so much for Edith, who has been together with me here. Thank you so much because of our viewers. And thank you for every other person who has become a part and parcel of this wonderful program. How we pray that even as we set forward for the rest of this week, more so even as we start Ash Wednesday today and the moment of Lent, we pray that may you help us to trust in you, to rely on you, and to hope in you in everything that we do. Protect us and be together with us for the rest of this week. Until next time when we'll meet again, we shall remember to acknowledge you and to honor you for your faithfulness. We honor you, O God, and we praise your name, for it is in Jesus' mighty name we do pray, trust, and believe.
Amen.
Amen.
I have been your
Amen.
host, Edith Commander, and that marks the end of our show. Till next Wednesday, keep it Nisi Television. It's the Doctor's Desk.
Welcome to Nisi